And I am so not ready for this podcast tonight.
It's okay.
Not in any way, form, or fashion. This should have been the one that we went live.
Yeah.
I think we should just randomly just go live.
We could do that.
Like I said, I'll bring the laptop. And, Hey, we're already on. Let's do this thing.
I'm Jake Schriner.
I'm Pastor Johnny Leckie. You can call me Johnny. That's fine. And this is the Compass Conversation podcast. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye. We will follow you, King Jesus. Maybe we should pause for a thumbnail. Sometimes it's hard to find one. Just do something goofy that has nothing to do with the podcast.
Right.
It's so genuine. Yeah. It's like the last one where we were talking about having a fake camera at our various...
Yeah.
Oh, my soul. Well, hey, you know what? We're going to get this thing started. To across the table here is a good friend and Compass Church attender and member, I would say.
Yeah.
Part of our church, Jake Schriner. Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I didn't ever go through like an official membership program or anything.
It's okay. That's all right. We can talk about that if you want.
We can a good topic for some time. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Anyway, I'm good. Work was okay for a Monday. You know, just typical stuff. Weekend was really nice. Had a very relaxing weekend with the girls. Just kind of hung out. Colette made cookies yesterday.
Oh!
So I'm totally in the mood for more.
So I'm excited. 2 cookies in a row.
Yeah,
Cookie day. Love
great.
that.
It's so funny because I love when Colette makes cookies because she's always like, here, I'll put some in like a bag for you to take to work to share with them. Like, no. Those aren't going to work. Those
are share with
those are my cookies. Those are staying at home. I'm eating all of those.
They're not to be shared in public squares. They're for you alone, as the proverbs say.
I like to think
I think it's talking about cookies.
I like to think that I'm generous, but not with the cookies my wife makes me. Those are mine.
All right, fair enough. I think that's fair. Very fair. But like, as far as you know, Leona makes special batches of cookies.
You might
know nothing about.
Absolutely, you might have a full cookie jar.
This is getting weird.
I know.
This is getting very weird. The euphemisms are beginning. What are we really talking about?
No, yeah, the weekend was good. We had a lot of fun. I am going to start seeds soon.
Seeds are coming.
That time, we're going to start the pepper seeds first.
All right, well, do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to wait till we move? It's just different now. I'm asking how you are, and then we can talk about all this.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm good. I'm looking forward to.
Man, to be shut you.
And then we got. Oh, you're good.
It's like stop talking about.
And then we're going to Florida in March to see Colette's parents. So
yeah,
be nice. We're going to be gone like a Monday through Thursday. Melissa's going to watch my dog.
Okay, I think I caught some of that in passing as we returned.
So looking forward to that here in the next few weeks. Go away to the beach for a couple days and hang out.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Although here in Aurora, it's almost...
Today, you're going to go to the beach. Yeah, absolutely.
So. Now, it's funny because I know people in Texas, and again, it's the thing you adjust to, right? If you're used to triple digits in the summer, and then it's like 90 in, October, I mean, it's that kind of thing, then 60 degrees is like, woo!
Yeah, it's chilly. Absolutely.
Here, it's like, man, it's getting hot. It's nice.
You were walking around in a t-shirt earlier.
Yeah, it's like warming up. It was like a late spring kind of day. But what I don't want to have happen here is that everything start blooming, because we know snow's coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
March is the snowiest month, and everything blooms, then it kills everything, and then it doesn't bloom right.
It's tough to grow stuff out here.
That's true.
So I'm good. I'm glad I'm here. How you doing, John?
I'm okay. This is one of those days, I don't even know. I don't think I have any good stories to tell or anything. But early morning, I've been, I got up, nice. It was weird. When I woke up this morning, I felt like I'd been run over by a truck. I think I've been getting to bed just a little too late. And this sounds really funny, but if I'm in bed at like 10 on a night where I have to get up at like 5 the next morning, I'm awful. It's not enough time, not enough sleep. So usually on these kind of weeknights, Leona and our goal is like 8:15, which sounds like old people. We're ready, but I'm up at 5.
Yeah.
I need at least 7 hours of sleep.
Right.
So anyway, but that means I'm in bed. That doesn't mean I'm asleep. It means I'm winding down, I'm reading.
Doing a little reading.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But today, I just woke up and like, oh my gosh. I had to really make a willful, choice. Now, I think I mentioned before that the way I like to start my mornings is I get up before Leona, I go in, I make some coffee, I have some lemon water. I don't know if I told you about that.
It's supposed to be really good to start your day with that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I drink the water first.
A little salt sprinkled in?
No.
No, okay.
Salt. Okay, anyway. I was not that you said sugar. A little sugar thrown in. Like lemonade.
It's like good. Like it's got the electrolytes in there. Anyway.
Well, anyhow, so I'll start with that, and then I go and I sit in the chair right in here. This is basically my chair, the one right there. And I open up a blind, and I turn off all the lights, and I just have my coffee. I have my Bible app, and I put it to listen. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so we're reading through the Bible. We do this every year. And so I've got like a 10-minute read.
Yeah.
So it's like story time, but it's my kind of quiet time. I get my head together. Then I use Google Keep, which I have grown to love. I don't know if you're familiar with Google Keep. I'll have to show it to you after we're done here. It's free. It's part of the Google suite of stuff.
Yeah.
But I make checklists and I make notes and they're my to-do lists and all that kind of stuff by category and very easy to do. But I'll go through and kind of map out the important things that need to get done today.
Yeah.
Some of them, very rarely, I hate to admit this, but very rarely are they school things, the job that's paying me. Because that's pretty, every now and then, with Vallogram, we talked about that.
Right.
I do have goals. But then I walk through those goals and things I've got to get done. So today, I was blowing through some of those, and we're making some plans and things for our spring break coming up. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But anyhow, I had to work my way into a feeling today rather than the other way around, and it was great. It ended up being a really, really good day.
Good.
But I'm tired now.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kind of ready for what's happening during our cookie break. So that could be interesting. Right, it could be interesting. I don't know, man. I've forgotten even who Jesus' 12 were. That's the kind of day. It was a good day, but it was draining. And then I walked home. It was my walk home from school day. So
nice day for that to happen.
All right.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
Well, that's how we're doing. Do you remember we used to have like 4 people?
I know.
At the table?
We would spend 20 minutes.
Let's wait 45 minutes. Like, how you doing?
You know what's funny is the last 3 podcasts that we've done, just you and me.
Yeah,
we haven't had trouble filling up the 45 minutes.
I think we found the 2 talking machines.
There's been zero issue filling our time.
You're so right. Oh my gosh. Well, maybe we're just trying to fill in because we don't have the others who would add in. Although I miss those guys. All of them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it is funny if I was scrolling through the Compass Church YouTube channel.
Yeah. Good.
Just scrolling back to see how far back it kind of went and everything. And it's funny watching the podcast as it's kind of like morphed over time. Just all the thumbnails, how it just starts with you, Tracy, and Maury, and then it just slowly transitions, and then Bob shows up. And then I show up, and then Maury steps away, and then Tracy steps away, and then Bob's away, and now it's just you. And we're in different places, and the cameras are different angles.
That's true. And there was a time.
It's evolved over the last 170 episodes.
Are we up to 70?
I don't know.
I lost count too.
Yeah,
it'll be clear.
It's a lot.
160 something, I think.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of fun to go back. Every now and then I will go back if I'm working in the garage or doing something like that in the summertime. I will set the playlist rolling.
That's awesome.
Listen through some of those just while I'm working, and it cracks me up, takes me back. It's almost like a preservation of history. It's like a museum in a way from several years ago. I mean, not too many people are going back to just go listen to that just randomly.
Yeah. But
they're still hilarious. Some of those are so funny and such good conversations and deep theological things and stuff about Compass. It's awesome. There was one, going back, maybe we spent too much time on this, but where we did a podcast during the summer outside. This was before you were a part of things. And we were in the gazebo of Tracy's backyard.
That's cool.
And the only problem was, it was right by their little babbling brook. And they didn't turn it off for the podcast, so it was like
just white noise.
Yeah, so the thing was, a river runs through it. Was the thing on and the sound is horrible. And it would have been just fine.
Right.
It would have looked cool in that gazebo.
That's funny. That is cool, though.
Yeah, originally we talked about actually doing a podcast live, or if not live, recording it in a coffee shop, like with all the coffee shop stuff going on behind.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to really get the mic. We couldn't do it like this.
Right.
I mean, everybody would have to have
You'd have to have something clipped on your collar, and
it'd still be picking up, the sounds around. But that might be kind of fun.
It would be kind of cool. Yeah. In the Compass Church coffee shop that you've been talking about for.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, that needs to happen.
There you go.
That's the thing. This is the thing about our church. And we talk about this behind the scenes of the podcast, but also a little bit on Sundays. That it is a weird but cool experience of church planting, and then just the life of our church. Right, grow, shrink, grow, shrink. Obviously, we want to keep reaching people, as we always say, but that the vision for everything coming up, everything we're going to do, it's still very exciting. It's still a cool thing to be a part of. A lot of grand, just stuff that we can do that would be hard to do if we were in a long time established church. That we can do on a dime.
Right.
We can try things, work. We still have a core church experience we're going to do every week, and then we can try outreach things, we can do big events, but talking about, I've thought about this, it's like, whenever, how do I say this, Leon and I wrote a Christmas musical years ago, I've told you about that, a dramatic Christmas musical, One Bad Christmas, took a lot of time, a lot of stuff that was many, many years ago. I don't think I would ever do anything like that again. But here's the thing, before I did anything else, I made the logo for the thing. And once that existed, I had to do it.
Right.
This has to be a thing.
Yeah.
And ever since you've talked about a steel, Compass Church sign that might be at our sort of headquarter base, home, central location or whatever, I thought that kind of needs to happen. And so does the coffee thing in some way. Oh my gosh. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I've had those thoughts about it. You mentioned that a couple of times. Like, how cool would it be to have a spot like that where, it's on, let's just say, for example, it was something like a coffee shop. You have that during the week, it's open, or maybe like some sort of bookstore or something, something cool, right? But yeah, it's open, but also like, Sunday mornings. That's also where we meet, and so it's not going to be doing business for a portion of the hours on Sunday, or any at all maybe, but that's where we're going to meet on Sunday mornings,
This is the coolest idea ever. Now, here's the thing. There is a church in the nation's capital, all right, Washington, D.C. A guy named Mark Batterson. They bought, this was several years ago. This is going, I don't even know how many decades now. I don't know if it was in the early 2000s, maybe. And it was back in the early days of blogging, and so I was friends with Mark Batterson. Since then, he's written a bunch of books and things. So if you've heard Mark Batterson, I kind of know him. He was one of the early prayer partners with something they were doing in Texas. But anyway, he barely remembers me. I haven't talked to him in years.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, Mark, it's me, Johnny." He's like, "Wait, who was it?"
Like, who's Johnny?
Yeah. But anyway, what they did was they bought this. It was like a old historic train depot in D.C. And they converted it 3 levels, so it's sort of a historical monument. But they made the lower level, like a basement type, a finished out small stage worship gathering space.
Okay, cool.
The street level was, or is still today, a coffee shop that they called Ebenezer's.
Okay.
All right, Ebenezer's Coffee. And then the upper level was their church offices.
Cool.
All right, so that coffee shop runs, 7 days a week, I guess. Maybe not Sunday, but I just know it runs all week, and there are tons of people that get coffee at Ebenezer's. Some of them may not even know that it's actually a church. And the proceeds from their coffee shop goes back into their ministry of stuff that they do. And so in their setup, it's all nonprofit. And it's, or at least back in the day it was, all nonprofit. And so when you buy coffee, you're actually making a donation.
Okay.
That's going towards specific things they say. So it's not like you're just supporting their religious thing.
Right.
They do a huge on the mall in DC an Easter egg hunt for the community.
Oh, cool! That's pretty cool.
So part of it goes to pay for that.
Nice.
At least that's how it started. Now today, I'm not sure what the story is, but I just remember the days when they were finishing it out, when we were praying for them, and thinking how cool that was, and how it's now an established thing in DC is to go to Ebenezer's Coffee Shop. So anyway, those were the early days of me thinking, hey, that's a great. I love that, because you have your place. Now we've talked about the possibility of, rather than buying like a big chunk of land, a giant parking lot, and a massive building. Nothing to get to. Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with such a thing, but particularly with property values here in Colorado, to instead maybe buy a strip of land.
Right.
We've talked about this.
Yeah,
and maybe a
strip mall thing.
Kind of that, and lease those out.
Mm-hmm.
That helps also pay for the facility itself. And yet there's one part of it that's just what you were just talking about. Coffee shop, worship space. I don't know. We'll see. Welcome to our meeting.
It's fun
our dream meeting. Thanks.
Fun to dream. It's fun to talk about that kind of stuff. Future plans and
yeah. Well, you want to make a difference in the community. Now, obviously, nothing makes more of a difference than sharing Christ, Jesus, with people. He is the only person, power, anything that's the ultimate answer. But we are getting back into the Sermon on the Mount here soon. Mm-hmm. Little salt and light thing.
Foreshadowing.
Yes. But we want to be able to go into the community and make God's kingdom sharing his light, shining his light, I guess is what. Shedding's more like what it's
shedding his light.
Dogs do that. Oh my gosh. But I mean, to make a difference in your community where they would really, even if many of them didn't become members of our church or ultimately become believers, but they would see very good things being done in the name of Jesus. And meeting real needs where that they would really miss us if we weren't around. Mm-hmm. We're kind of like that now in some spots. So it's like all the bolts are there. I mean, all the stuff is here. Right. It's just a matter of it just continuing to grow and doing more of it. And there are ways. There are things we can do. Yeah. Listen to last time's podcast to understand more. Did you like how I threw out that almost church is stranger than fiction? This is hilarious, by the way. Line I threw out to everybody about go back and listen to last week's message.
Yeah.
As if, with great hope. I think that some will, actually.
Well, that's funny you say, because I listen to your message on Mondays on my drive home. That's my Monday drive home thing. Because I re-listen to the message just to pull it up. Some of it
so do I, because I have to go through and go, wait. We should say that's what happens here. I kind of correct or fix.
Yeah,
but
and some of it is because it's like I know we're going to meet tonight, but on weeks that we don't have the podcast, still it's good to have that refresher and
it makes me feel good. I'm glad you did it.
That's at least one person is back.
All right.
But our message series. So was it coming to? Was yesterday the final message in the series, or is there?
No, I think we're done with that series. True North has lasted 7 weeks, and I originally intended it to last like 3 or 4. And
that's okay.
It's sort of what we used to call sugar stick. It's like one of those. You guys have heard this. Mm-hmm. Although I have made great efforts to bring in new shades of into the prism, to the diamond of this stuff. So it's not exactly the same every time.
Right.
The principles are the same, but I'm bringing some new things, hopefully, to the table there. So I'm not just kind of re-preaching exactly what I did 3 years ago or 2 years ago.
I think every time you've done a new message on the More Stronger Closer, it's been approached from a different angle.
That's been the heart behind it. But I started realizing the reason I went into this new year, I think we've talked about this before, but the reason was because new year, we have some new people that have never heard any of that stuff before. Right. And I just wanted them to kind of get on board with it early on. But I realized the last time I did it was like only in like October or something. I mean, it wasn't very long ago. But I'm always amazed. It's like this pastor who for years said that one of his lines was vision leaks. And you may be thinking you're saying that vision, like, man, they're sick of hearing the same thing over and over. But people just kind of forget, and it kind of leaks out, and you have to keep filling that, right? So, obviously, at least once a year, I'll do something about those kinds of things. Yeah. If not that way, then they will be interwoven into a variety of different messages where it fits with a certain point. I say that's what our more is when we talk about more stronger or that kind of thing. But yeah, I think we wrapped it up yesterday. So there are two other things I could have done, just really chewed on for a while, and we were talking about closer to God. But there are three aspects to that I usually emphasize. There's really more, but it's that intentionality. Right. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. It takes, God already made first move. That's the main thing. He's waiting ready for us. There. He's drawing. He's even giving us the measure of faith to even turn to Him. Right. So. Anyway, but we have to decide and be intentional to draw close to God, and not just in terms of our salvation, but in terms of our spiritual growth, in terms of dealing with the issues we face every day during the week. We still have to draw near to Him every day. It's a new thing every day. So just talking about those kind of things is what I really spent a lot of time on yesterday. And also how Jesus, dealt with the wall that keeps us, from Him, and how sin itself is about living apart from Him rather than close to Him. Right. And but the other two aspects, of course, are prayer and worship. Like I said, I know I've spoken on these things before, but I never want to just say, go listen to the sermons on video. They're all out there. But so yes, obviously I'll be teaching on those things again. But I just felt like if I went into prayer, that's at least one message. Worship at least. Yeah. Before I did like 5 or 6 just on prayer. Right. 5 or 6, if not more, on worship. And so I felt like this series was supposed to be a short overview. We're in February. Right. That's how we've started the whole year. It's time to move on. And the previous series, and again, this is mostly me praying through and thinking through what do I need to teach, what needs to be, where is our church, what do we need to be doing. But there's also that part of me that's like, it used to be on the last Sunday of every month we were in the Gospel of Mark.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, are we doing?
Of course we're gonna do the Gospel of Mark. Yeah. So. What probably, and again, if I see you Sunday and I'm preaching out of Habakkuk or something, don't get angry. It just means God wrestled with me during the week, and then I figured I had to make a change. Yeah. But probably what's happening, at least this is the plan right now, is that we'll be back in the Sermon on the Mount for like phase 2 of that. Because like I say, I think we're going to take another chunk of it for about 5 weeks or 6 weeks.
Okay, cool.
And then take a break from it again, have more stuff, then come back to it again. And before the year is out, we'll have finished that whole Sermon on the Mount series. We started it in the fall.
Yeah.
There's just so much there.
You could touch on that every Sunday for a year.
Well, that's true. There's some of them are just a couple of verses. Okay, let's spend a whole message on boom on that. Yeah. So, and there's so much There's so much in the Sermon on the Mount that shows us how we need to be living, and the why and the perspective. It puts everything in perspective in so many ways. Certainly on this, for us seeing it and hearing it on this side of the resurrection, You know, it's even different than the way they heard it. But anyway, so that's probably going to. And then on the last Sunday of the month, back into
Gospel Mark on our Summit Sundays. That'd be cool.
Because the tough thing about it is this: is that I know that most of the people who are with us right now never heard any of the other Gospel Mark stuff.
Yeah.
And the next passage is, you know, we talk about end time things.
Oh yeah, that's
like,
right. Yes, it is. It's totally.
So it's kind of a weird thing to sort of jump into if you've not heard anything.
I totally forgot where we're at. We're
bringing
absolutely
up
right into the end time stuff. That is phenomenal.
We ended it right before that.
Right.
So, and that's because I was thinking at the time we were going to do a summer series about that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not my favorite. I know a lot of people just love talking end time. In fact, have probably too much of a filter even looking through the book of Revelation in terms of that, rather than a lot of the other stuff in Revelation that is right now geared at every church out there kind of stuff, rather than you know, be rolling out this big long chart of and then this will happen.
Break it down to everything that's gonna have
And then people always get mad, you know, because if you have a variety of understandings and interpretations, and if somebody lands slightly on this side and somebody on this side, these are people who've loved each other, prayed for each other, been through battles together, followers of Jesus, and suddenly, wait, you're in this millennium? That's well, we can't even be friends, you know? It's like, what?
It's like politics.
It's not about politics. So we don't do that.
Right.
We just don't get into that very much here.
Yeah, going into stuff like that with sort of a very open mind and realizing you're not going to understand it. Like, read it, but it's, you know, people wait, like, well, I don't want to say waste, but people spend their lives, because it's not a waste, but people will spend their whole lives diving into the scholarly study of just Revelation.
Yeah, it's too much.
Exactly.
This is the perfect time to say, come in. Let's get off of this.
Yeah.
This must mean cookie break.
Nothing, no.
Cookie.
Yeah,
Just
they're
doing it
really
tonight.
hot.
Huh?
They're really hot from the oven.
Well, we can't have that. The last thing we want is all right, remember the camera is you're not like bidding.
What kind of cookies do we have?
Hello.
Well,
so what is this? What
so
are
they started off Toll House.
They started off Toll House.
But I added a different kind of chip in it, and I added some peanut butter with peanuts in it too. So it's a little
combo cookies.
It's what I call the Toll House twist.
The Toll House. Okay. All right.
Toll House. Is there a special way we need to eat it? I mean,
No. Yeah, they're really
Toll
hot. They
House
just came out of the oven,
twist.
so they're still goopy.
Okay,
Sorry.
we're not going to
They
complain
are
about
really-
that.
Bye.
Those
Cookie break.
cookies.
Woo! Thanks, Fiona.
Thank you.
You're
If you want
awesome.
more, just holler. I made a bunch.
You know I will, but
Okay.
I don't eat them. Well, here is the lovely cookie that she has made. I know I can't really see that very well, but
They're good.
oh, you've already taken your bite. Okay.
Well, it kind of fell apart on me, so. Very good. Very good.
Oh yeah. They are pretty warm. It's kind of a melt and crumble in your mouth, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
There's something about the Nestle Toll House recipe.
No.
They perfected it.
That's great. You can have so many different variations. So, as usual, as we take our cookie break in our podcast, it gives me a reason to say, if you've got a cookie recipe you want us to try, drop it in the comments below.
That's right.
Or send us an email, johnny@compassnumber.com, Jake_Schriner@yahoo.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, I can't believe I remember that. All right.
And now for everybody's favorite segment.
It's not mine. I am not even. Last time, I was a little more prepared because of the category. This time, you gave me the category. It was as I was walking home. I went, oh, okay. And then I had no time to. So this could be awful.
It's okay. You'll know. Don't worry.
What is this? This is
The Book of Acts. Is,
well, no. What are we calling this?
Oh, we're calling this Bible trivia.
Bible trivia. It's not trivial.
It's not trivial.
Trivia that's not trivial.
Yeah. We're testing Johnny's Bible knowledge.
This is terrible.
All right, here we
terrible
go.
because I might even know But because it's Monday, and whatever, I might not know.
I think you'll be all right. All right, here we go. So the Book of Acts was the category. Where was Saul/Paul traveling to when he encountered Jesus?
I think it was Dallas. No, I'm just kidding. Damascus.
Damascus, yes.
On the road to Damascus.
That's right.
I preached
road
on
to
that.
Damascus.
Hopefully, I'm glad I knew the answer.
Yeah.
The road to Damascus.
I think you.
Are we doing 3 or 5?
3. We just got 3 for you. I do have a Bible bonus one, but that's more of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Bible bonus.
Let's see. Who had a vision involving all of the quote 4-footed animals and reptiles of the earth and the birds of the sky?
Did this involve a sheet?
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Peter, man. No, I won't eat that, Lord, he said.
That's right.
It's amazing to me the number of times Peter chastises Jesus, or even in a vision to the Lord himself. No, I'm not
telling
doing that.
God no.
No, I'm not doing that. It's wrong, God.
After spending time with Jesus, walking around and listening to Jesus tell the Pharisees essentially the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and here we go. In Acts chapter 15, Paul and Barnabas argue with 2 men from Judea about this act and how it relates to salvation. The argument is important enough that it makes it all the way to the elders and apostles in the new church in Jerusalem. What is the act in question?
First of all, any question that takes 2 minutes to read is too long of a question.
Well, I only had 3. I didn't have
Is this the circumcision
That's
issue?
right. Yes, it is. And it made it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Can you imagine having that conversation? Oh, that's a great conversation to have some other time.
Right.
I used to say, they play that music at when people graduate, and I say, this. I'd say this graduation is awesome, but I'm a little nervous about the pomp and circumcision at the. The name of the song is Pomp and Circumstance. I would always say Pomp and Circumcision. Is that how you graduate? Is that what happens at the end?
It would have been funny to hear that debate. I really think
so.
That would have been an interesting debate to listen to.
Can you imagine? Well, I mean, in the slightest of ways, the reason... It's real fast. Okay, real fast. Tangent talk. The idea of circumcision to me has always been a little funny. And not, I'm not talking about when David, to win the woman comes back with the foreskins of all of those guys. Hey, it's the Bible, so we're okay. Mm-hmm. Wait, we're flagged? I hope we're not flagged on YouTube.
It's already been taken down.
We'll just say circumstance from now on.
Circumstance.
So circumstance, can you imagine if that's what we always thought every time now? That's the hidden secret word. Every time you say the word circumstance, it actually really means circumcision.
We got a code.
So what's the circumstances here? What? Okay. Monday. Little loopy. Sorry, friends. I've always thought it was kind of interesting that it's like, what a weird thing. I had a friend who was like, this was in college, and he's a ministerial student too, and he's like, so God told Abraham to get a sharp rock and do what? I mean, it's like, what does that have to do with it? Why is that a thing? Mm-hmm. But it kind of is a thing, if you think about it, because of where that happens, that act of circumcision, is pretty much where the family line... It's funny. This is why the Bible is so great, and why it's not something that you would just make up necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's almost like God has a sense of humor about this thing in a way, but He's also getting really real. Right. This is important. He's hitting the men right where they live. Right.
You're right.
And a reminder, that your bodies belong to me, you're my people, this is sacred, this is important, don't be flippant with it.
Right. It's setting them apart.
I can go so many weird ways with that, I'm not really meaning to. But in the minds of Israel, this is how you, literally in your body as a man anyhow, demonstrated that you belonged to God. And as weird as that is, because down the road, that seems really weird. In the beginning, it made some sense, even though it was still kind of weird. But you also have to think, how would anybody know? Well,
Right.
how would anyone know that you had been? You didn't arrive at the temple and do a open robe for a moment. It wasn't like that.
Full inspection. Yeah.
Right. But there were ways, right, in the ancient world where you would certainly know. So anyway, that's what their deal was. I mean, they knew that was sort of a sign of their covenant with God. And now you're talking about not the old covenant, but the new covenant. And it's interesting to me, too, that Paul was willing to take people who were with him, and in order to not offend in some cases, made sure that they followed all of those rules,
Right.
shaving the head, whatever it might be, so that they wouldn't be offended, and yet still they would lie and say, you brought a Gentile into the court of,
Right, yeah.
So anyway, it's that whole circumcision. I just remember as a kid not understanding it, and then the adults were kind of embarrassed to even talk much about what's going on here and why. And then as I got a little older, I was like, and then I was like, wait, what?
Right.
So that's an interesting thing to talk about. Maybe it'll come out in the message somewhere along the way, but
I thought, yeah.
it's kind of funny.
There are some subjects of the Bible that really just don't get touched on.
Yeah, that's true.
And not that they're like these huge, make or break things, but it's smaller things, but it does still have some level of importance to it, I think.
Well, it's like when you're a kid and you're teaching a child, who is maybe first grade, a Bible story, and let's say, for example, David and Goliath. Okay, well, that's still a little bit of you're still talking about a guy who gets killed,
right?
But what often isn't told in the story to children, even though Goliath gets hit in the head, you always think, oh, that killed Goliath. That isn't really what fully made sure that was done is when David took his sword out and cut his head off. Right. Praise the Lord. Right? It's like, but is that age appropriate? And the Bible is for all ages, but that's why it's something to be delved into with every age.
Right.
But you need to be sensitive to kids at their learning level as well, to what kinds of concepts they can even understand. So that's important when we teach children. I'm very mindful of that, by the way. We haven't locked in on a specific Bible curriculum for kids just yet, but I've been working on that for a while. So right now, even the stuff that we do is still very age appropriate for the kids that we have.
Yeah.
And it's meant to get them to, like for example, the earliest of the days when they're most younger, it's simple things like God created everything.
Right.
God made you.
Right.
God loves you. That kind of stuff. They don't have abstract thinking, even fully understanding things like sin, for fully down the road. Now, when I was either 7 or 8. I have to go back and look at not my birth certificate. I know how old I am. My baptismal certificate that I had. I'm pretty sure I was 8. I had just turned 8, I think. But I've understood these things, the very basic things, when I was like 5 or 6. The fact that I did things that I knew that were wrong. Things that I lied, or I was mean, or I was selfish, or it's all those kind of things we all have an inclination to do. Even the sweetest of little ones, right?
That's right.
We don't teach them to be bad. We try to teach them to be good.
Isn't that interesting how that works?
Yeah, we just naturally have a bent towards not doing the right thing. So it's our sin nature.
Yeah.
It's our nature, but. I believe there isn't sort of an age of accountability, even though that phrase is not in Scripture. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But But anyway, with kids is what I'm saying is that I understood the basics of what it meant to become a follower of Jesus when I was very young. And I think this is in part, we have to be so careful with kids because it's so easy. They want to make you happy, right? They want to say what you want them to say. And so we never ever want to manipulate children, right? And don't you love God? You know what I'm saying? or try to guilt them or make them feel really bad, because the Holy Spirit can do that all by himself. We don't have to twist and make them cry and that sort of thing. And I've seen that kind of thing. It's always wrong, because what usually happens is if you're manipulated into some kind of confession or some kind of faith experience, as you get older, you begin to see that didn't seem right, and you might have problems. Then you may turn away from all of it, and it's terrible. So anyway, we don't want to do anything that would hurt kids in any way. No. So, but Jesus always said, "No, let the children come to me.
Right? Absolutely.
Don't deny them. If our kids are saying, 'Hey, Dad, tell me about,' I don't understand. Who is Jesus? What is? I don't understand. They said something Sunday, and I've been thinking about it. It's that kind of thing. We have to learn to communicate those things and judge when they're really ready to place their faith in Jesus. So sometimes there are steps of faith that happen with kids, and I don't know how we got off on all this exactly, but I think it was talking about the parts of the Bible where we don't we don't have to tell them all of the sinful behavior that happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, in order for them to understand that they were doing bad things. And so anyway, how do we get on that? I have to back that one up. I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to go back and watch it.
Here, let's rewind this. What did we say? I don't know. I have no idea. What is it? But anyway, all right. Good fun theological little talks there. What else you want to talk about? We haven't talked about anything we're doing.
I mentioned yesterday we got been 2 months. We got the first garden work day coming up.
Our
sign is still up at the plot.
Sign is there.
We'll have a second plot too with Annette.
Managing
that one. But yeah, our first work day is in 2 months. It's going to be probably third week of April. I want to get it.
Third week of April.
Yeah, I really would like to get, as long as the ground thaws in time. But
all right, because it could still snow in May.
It could, absolutely. Yeah, we're
Colorado,
just hoping for the best. But I think that getting out there, getting work done. We only turned over half the plot last fall. That last day we were out there planting the garlic, we only flipped over half of it. So there's the other half that we still need to.
Oh,
right. We were out there with the shovels and just breaking it all apart. So.
The garlic's there, man. It's waiting for us.
Yeah, it's planted. We got a bunch. So
the garlic is like all the people who are not a part of Compass yet. Will be harvested in the summer. It could be you. You are like the garlic of
Come enjoy our garlic.
Come enjoy our garlic. Be a part of our garden.
No, that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be fun. I was telling Annette, it's like, I need to cut a second sign for her plot now too.
Speaking of the garden, okay, two things. Number one, it was really fun having that seed thing.
Oh yeah,
and people were looking at that during our brunch gatherings. It was going around the table.
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh, that's good, yeah." So that was kind of cool. Second thing is this: there's a person who's a part of our church now, and we talked. I think I said something to her Sunday about this, but it was one of those things I didn't quite get the gravity of this thing. Mandy.
Hello, Mandy.
When we gave out stuff from the garden, she was one of the recipients at the school.
That's awesome.
And when I mentioned that, I think this Sunday, I don't know if you caught her say this, I said, Mandy, didn't we give you some of that? Did I give you some of that stuff from the garden? She went, yeah, we ate every bit of it.
Yeah, I did hear her say that, yeah.
So that was one of those, before being a part of Compass, touches that you put those blocks together, and now she's a part of things more than ever. So cool, man. That's just a cool thing. And so we got to remember, as we harvest the garden to realize it, and we probably need to have a time of prayer and commitment for the harvest of the garden. Garden. I'm not sure what it is there, but I don't always say garden.
Garden.
Hey, garden.
It's like there's no E at the end.
Yeah.
Garden.
Anyway, it's to make, pray for, and then give to neighbors, friends.
Yep.
That sort of package of vegetables. Literally praying for the person we're giving it to.
I did that a little bit last summer. It was awesome. Having the I would come home from the garden with like midsummer, just taking the zucchini that was ready and some broccoli and stuff. Got home. There was one day where there was, I got like 3 neighbors outside, and I pop out of my truck with 2 Walmart bags full of produce. Like, hey guys, you want anything? Made sure I told them all, like, hey, this is from our church community plot. Like we have an excess. We want to share with you guys. Hope you enjoy it.
Just take it freely.
It was it was good. They all said how much they enjoyed it, and they thanked me for it. And it was delicious. And it's nice to give and share and provide like that.
And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about getting into the garden again. The garden, being out there and knowing that we're doing that. Even when the times when we have fewer people or people are sick and out of town, it's like a little discouraging.
Yeah.
Still not, because we got stuff coming, right? We got stuff we're doing, and we know it's going to keep growing, and we got to keep reaching people. So, the garden. But I wanted to mention that about Mandy, that that was in part, right? So she received something from us. She got to, of course, I don't discount the fact that she got to know Leo and me at the school.
Right.
But then they came to Easter.
Mm-hmm.
Then we didn't see them for a long time. And then they started coming, I think, in the fall. That's when they started coming around a bit more. Actually, strangely, it was being at our house that was most appealing to them at the time.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I know we were talking about this Sunday. For some people, it's like, oh, it's weird. You meeting at your house. But I don't know if we're maybe reading into that into some people. I think the less churchy you are, the more it's appealing if we describe it right.
Right. I think it depends on who you're trying to appeal to as well, because there are some people that's not.
Yeah, they're not their house.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're at the school, right?
Absolutely.
But if you're already a churchy person, you're not really who we're trying to. I mean, I'm God bless you. We're glad you go to your church, go to a church, go be there. But if you are not somebody who's placed your faith in Jesus, it's a great relational way to connect. And we're going to do a lot of different things. We're not just hung up on being at our house, but for her, it was perfect timing. It seemed to be a part of something that didn't feel like a cold church experience.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's good, right? So what else is cooking?
We're out
of time, man.
We filled up our time again.
We did. I have no idea what the title of this one's going to be.
No clue. But there is one verse that's important. It's the whole reason why we're here. And
what is that verse? Let's share it.
John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life.
Amen. Amen to that. John 3:16. I was going to say something about John 3:16. That's a verse. Obviously, it's the world famous John 3:16. Yes. But there's still tons of people who've never ever heard it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember even years ago in Texas. I know I'm just dragging this thing up, but in Texas, even where people think, oh, everybody is a Christian there, right? You got church on every corner. It's really not true at all. At all. But particularly like the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in Texas. It's like the whole world is there. From people from all over the world live in that area. But I just remember just a guy who was running the TCU Global Center was the name of the place. It was affiliated with Texas Christian University, even though this guy wasn't a Christian at all. And it was part of their business school thing, but they rented out space to different businesses for meetings and trainings and things. And that was where our church plant met for the first time.
Oh, cool.
So that's where I met him. And as I was talking with him, he just seemed like one of those guys you'd see at church every Sunday. And I started to share with him about what it meant to be a follower of Jesus. And I said, John 3:16, you probably heard John 3:16. He was like, have you ever heard the expression? I don't think so.
Just nothing.
Just nothing.
Yeah.
Nada. So anyway, it was very enlightening to him when he heard the gospel really for the first time. So anyway, John 3:16. We like to say it every week. Okay, well, is there anything else we need to share before we cut out of here tonight?
I don't think so.
Well, thanks for joining us. We are going to do this. I really think we're going to do at least one, just live.
Yeah.
Streaming on Facebook.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
Just hello.
We'll do it.
Follow comments, interact.
We should tell some people too. Like,
yeah, give them a heads up.
Give them a little heads up, maybe.
Just a surprise.
Yeah.
Invite somebody.
Right.
Because then they'll hear John 3:16 live.
Absolutely.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. I guess I just need to simply say we meet somewhere in the world every single week. You can usually find us online if the streaming is working properly.
Yeah.
But anyway, we meet 10 a.m. Often at Arkansas Elementary School here in Aurora, Colorado. Right now we are doing the middle of the month stuff here from a home gathering. But either way, we would love to have you as our guest this Sunday. You can discover more at compassdenver.com. All right. I think that's what we got here. So, final words, Jake.
This has been great because he is great.
Grace to you and peace. That is all we have for tonight, and we are out.
Bye.
Goodbye. I didn't even talk about my joust.
Joust. We talked about that last time.
Was that?
Well, that was not on recording, though.
Yeah. Next time. Next time.